How's it going, lovebirds? This is episode 10 of the Good Relationships podcast. I'm your host, Derek Brown Jr., and today I have a very special guest with you, Miss Naomi. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Derek. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I want to thank you for coming on in such a short notice. As always, we're going to get into the topic, and we're going to get right into it. So the topic of today is the difference between attachment and love. And I know that this is your first time on the podcast, so, take as much time as you need to. I know you have a lot of knowledge about this subject. And, so the first question I want to ask you is, what is your perception of the difference between loving someone and being attached to someone?
Well, I think it comes down to, attachment is when you find somebody that you really like and you're compatible with, but instead of, really wanting the best for them and you just want them to fulfill your needs, like, you become dependent on them. I think in a lot of times in relationships, we get with them and then we start to lose our sense of motivation and our sense of self, and we stop taking time out of our day to find ourselves, and it's all about that person, and that becomes very unhealthy, and you start clinging on to them and becoming emotionally dependent on them. And really the truth is, the tighter that you cling on to them, the worse it gets. And if you don't have yourself, you really don't have much. So
That makes sense. So, would you say that as a woman, from a female's perspective, that it's super important to constantly be working on yourself and really just investing in yourself, even though you're supporting, the guy that you're with, their dreams?
yeah, I think that it's not only important for women, it's important for everybody to be able to find their self, because if it's only one-sided in the first place and only one person is focused on finding themselves and the other one is not, you guys are going to clash pretty hard, I think. And yeah, maybe if you guys are both become dependent on each other emotionally, I think you're just going to bring each other down a lot and you're not going to find motivation in your everyday things. You're going to start living life through the same pattern and doing the same stuff that you do every day.
Okay, so let's say that I'm in that kind of relationship. So I'm in that kind of relationship where we're doing the same things every day. There's lack of motivation. I think I care for my significant other, but we're literally living the same day over and over. The spark is kind of gone. What does somebody like me do in that situation?
It's really hard. I feel like it's very easier said than done, because once you've gotten to that point where you both are feeling like that, a lot of times people get into a state where they just don't have motivation and they can't see themselves alone being successful. They can't see that. So it's hard to give other people advice for that, but if I'm giving advice to somebody that was in that situation, I would start by doing something that you used to do when you were by yourself, single, maybe, doing really well. Start going back to the gym. Just do that one thing. Take baby steps, and you might find yourself becoming free of that relationship and breaking out of it that way, instead of just cutting things off. Nobody wants to do that.
I think that's really good insight. It sounds like you believe that singleness is not such a sad period, but actually a time that you can work on yourself. And,
absolutely. Yeah.
So what's your experience been like in singleness? I know you just got out of a relationship, and you're preaching this because you believe in it. And can you give some examples of what it looks like to do self-love and to be on that path of singleness to better yourself and work towards your dreams?
I was in a relationship where I felt like I really, really loved somebody, but after you get out, you're looking at things from the outside in, and you're able to realize, what it really was. And so once I got out of the relationship, I was forced, we had to just cut things off. So I was really, really hurting, but I had all this time. And so I started doing the things that I used to do and getting back to the gym, and I had to force myself into doing those things, or else I really just wanted to sit in my room and, not do anything. But
right.
Once I got out and started doing all these things, I feel like you just mentally, you start finding yourself, even if you're not even looking. When you take time out of your day to do things for yourself, you're gonna find yourself, and someone else is gonna find you and find that attractive, and things can flow that way. But I think being single is a great time to focus on you, so that once you do get into a relationship, you don't want to stop being you, because that's when things starts going south. And yeah.
Wow, that was, you said it better than I know a lot of people do.
I'm trying.
No, you're doing a great job. I do think that it's, everything you just said sounds amazing. And I know that there's some people who, they get into a relationship and they start changing themselves for other people. Like, if there's something that the other person, spots out about them, they're like, I don't really like that, then they change it instead of just being themselves. And it could be like a domino effect, where they keep telling them that they don't like certain things, and the other person believes that they're changing out of love for that person, but they don't realize that they're really just being shaped into something, or put into a box that they don't even fit into, and it's causing them to be a little bit more uncomfortable, because that's not them. And I feel like the goal is to be around someone that you can be yourself with, almost 100% of the time, if not 100% of the time.
Right.
So if you're, putting yourself into a box for someone because you think that you love them, and you may love them, but it's like, I think that that's going to hurt you more than it can help you and that other person, because how can you truly, love someone at their fullest potential if you're not at your fullest potential? And that's just where I feel about that.
Yeah. And I'm going to get real deep and go ahead and say, if you're wondering if you really love someone, I would just go ahead and ask yourself, would I be happy without them if they're happy, knowing that they're happy? If you can look at somebody and be like, I would be happy if you're happy, period, whether you're with me, whether you're not, whether you just moved across the country, if you're happy, I'm happy. If you can't confidently say that, and if you can't confidently say that, I don't think, I don't know. You better start doing something.
So, what about the addiction standpoint? So, what do you feel like that looks like for someone who may be in a situation, and they're listening to this podcast right now, and they're like, well, I don't know if I actually love this person, or if I'm just addicted.
I think if you're really attached, if you feel like you can't go without them, you can't go about your day how you usually go about your day, without talking to them, hearing from them. You're waiting for them to get home, which is all cool, but if you're not doing anything for yourself, they're going to become your life. You're going to become dependent on them for, to keep your mind right, and that's doing nothing but making it worse for your mind, really. So I think if you would know you're attached, if you're just really clingy, I don't know.
I think that's pretty good. I guess from a guy's perspective, it can be easy for, guys to get attached to someone who they really feel like is in their corner. And, you can look at it as love very quickly, because you can, meet someone and very early on kind of feel like a spark there. and you kind of like look past everything else, and you're like, okay, especially if you're really been searching for like a relationship, it's like you can really like look past everything else and just kind of just fall for the one thing that person is doing, and not so much the whole person as a being, but just the sole fact that this person may just be supporting your dreams, and you like look at that and you're like, okay, well, this is enough for me to fall in love with this person. Whereas it could have just been like a friend that is supporting you and, you know, believing in you, versus you like really diving into something that may not be true. It may not actually be the person for you. Right. It's just, you know, someone who does care about you, and you may care about them, but it's not really worth you investing your whole life, your whole being into this person.
Right.
And I mean,
yeah, when my this is gonna sound terrible because we're not even together anymore, but when my ex and I were together, I felt like what really attracted us together is because I had been single for a while, and I was really getting back to myself, and so I was in a really good place, and he was also in a really good place getting back to his self. And so that really built up a huge fire, and like that's what brought us together. And the more time that you spend together, the more time you can either choose to take that time to flourish and strive together, or you could feed off of it in kind of a selfish and unhealthy way. And then you'll fall into just this clinginess and, okay, I'll skip the gym today, and I'll skip my studies today because I want to be around you, and then I'm going to skip these things today because I need to be around you, and it becomes unhealthy. But if you were a couple that really had a fire at the beginning, and you guys were both being yourself and flourishing with that, I wouldn't say there's absolutely no hope. Maybe just reminding your partner or significant other that you feel it's important for you both to get back to that. And if they agree with you, great, amazing. Wish you the best, and I really feel like that would work out. But if they don't, and they're too stuck in this comfortable way that, you know, y'all have kind of done together, then I would say maybe let them go and hope that they find that again, or maybe help from the sidelines, and focus on yourself first, though.
Wow. Well, I think it's going to be super easy for people to take that advice in, because, you know, sometimes it only takes a small push for us to get started, you know, towards a journey. And sometimes it just takes hearing something, even though we know that it's true already. And I know that's how it was for me. You know, I could tell myself like so many times, like, okay, this is probably not the best relationship for me. It's like, man, it may be tough to find someone else. You know, all these different excuses that I made for myself.
Right.
But it took hearing it from somebody that I like trusted or cared about, or just hearing a different perspective.
Right.
Or seeing somebody else who's like actually happy, and you're like, wow, why doesn't my relationship look like that? And it's not to compare, but it's like that happiness doesn't just come from being with that other person, but it comes from within yourself, knowing that you're with someone who like can love you and cherish you. And, you know, people think that it's like something that's out from the outside, but it's really something from the inside. It's because you truly feel comfortable, you truly feel like you are where you're supposed to be, so it allows you to truly live in the present moment with that person.
Right.
And I think that you can actually do that with almost anyone, but it has to be a decision. And I think that decision would come from, I think it should come from you deciding, you know, this is the exact kind of person that I want to be with, and I'm not going to stop until I find this person. Like, at all costs, I'm going to say I'm single until I find this person and connect with this person, because that's what I truly deserve. I deserve the best. Like, I'm a king, I'm a queen, I deserve a king or a queen, and nothing less, because, you know, I'm special. And if you don't think you're special, like, that's a whole nother issue in itself. And it won't take someone telling you that you're special every day to change that, because it doesn't matter if someone's telling you that you're beautiful, you're special, you're this or that every day.
If you don't believe
it, you know,
yeah, it's not gonna do anything for you.
Exactly.
I think that's something that I also struggled with. I had some insecurity problems, which is like something that a lot of girls and guys go through, but choosing whether or not you're going to work on it. You know, I try my best to work on it, because if I don't, you know, cure those insecurities by myself, you know, no one else can do that for you. So they can say what they want a million times, and it's not going to work if you don't believe it. So.
No, I know we were just talking about, like, the difference between hearing something and listening to something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was that hearing something is not so much optional, because you can, like, hear a bunch of stuff and not really be tuned into it. But, like, listening to something is more of a choice. Like, you're choosing to be focused in, you're choosing to accept whatever someone's saying to you. So I think the same thing, like, works in, like, our relationships. Like, I mean, some people, like you said, are addicted to just the relationship. They're already in it, and maybe they're addicted to the things that this person is doing for them. They may be, like, paying their rent. They may be doing some things, like, that this person, like, can't really get out of, because they feel like they're so attached to this person.
Right.
And, you know, that attachment may come from things that aren't really, you know, they don't really matter. Like, we think they matter because, yeah, we know we gotta get our rent paid, or we know we like getting our shopping on, or we know we like going out to eat, and we know this person is there for us, and we know that this person is somebody I can talk to. This is my best friend, and we get attached to those things. And I still don't think any of that is worth you putting your true happiness, somebody that's gonna really, like, love and care for you and protect you and support you and fight for you. I still don't think it's worth sacrificing all of that for a relationship that you're only attached to because of a status or whatever else, whatever other reasons.
And not only that, but if you have a relationship that flourishes, there's so many benefits to that. Why would you want to give that up and, like, just live mediocre? I don't know. It gets, a relationship like that, it puts you in a comfort zone. And I personally don't believe that you should live in a comfort zone. And do the same things every day.
Maybe a week.
I don't feel like you should live that way. I don't think it adds any spice to life, and it can cut down on a lot of years. And then everyone looks back and says, oh, I wish I would have done this or this, but by that time it's too late. So I say live extravagant. Like, and your relationship, let it be extravagant, let it be extra, let it be special, let it be let it motivate you and flourish you and push you out of your comfort zone. There's a relationship that will put you in your comfort zone and keep you there, and there's a relationship that won't, and y'all are always out doing things, you know, and you're happy because they're happy and they're doing things that they want to do, not just I'm happy because they're loving on me. So yeah, that's a good example of the differences between those two as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, one sounds like love, and the other one just sounds like
boring.
Like, I mean, that's cool. I mean, it's cool to do that stuff, but I mean, what's the point of doing all of these things that you want to do, traveling or having amazing food, you know, visiting these places, even taking walks? Like, what's the point if you're not doing it with someone that you truly love and care about, like, that truly loves and cares about you? Like, what's the point if you're not sharing, if you're not creating these memories with someone that would truly cherish them? You know, I find a lot of people, they get so sad about like memories that they had with someone that they used to be with, and I'm like, life, you should not have those kind of thoughts. Like, even looking back on those memories, they shouldn't make you so sad to think about good memories. Like, good memories are,
I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of that.
And I am too, to be honest. And it's like, but I don't think it should be like that. Like,
yeah.
I think that once we find someone that we truly cherish, like, those memories will just be such a good thing within us that we'll have to just be grateful for those memories. Like, yeah, it's true. Honestly, 100% of the time, when we get with our significant other, our soulmate, or whatever you want to call it, the one, somebody's gonna die first. And it's like, that person is not gonna be, and I've talked to older people about this, like, who has lost their significant other, and they're like, no, I'm grateful that I got to spend that time with that person because I know that they were the one. Like, they cherish those memories versus being sad about the person that they lost.
I've met a few of those people, and it's really awesome to watch. They have lived their life, happily with this person for so long. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to watch, especially when they're, spiritually
like
together.
Connected.
Yes.
Like, finishing each other's.
Yes. And just like, I know this one couple, they both believed in God. They both were like that type of spiritually connected. And so when you share something like that, they both believe in the whole. Basically, she would always like tell me like, I can't wait to see him. She would get excited, even though she knew it was so sad. Even though she knew she was in the nursing home and she was about to die, she'd be like, I can't wait to meet him. She's like, I'm just so excited to go see him again. I know.
That gives me shivers.
Right. And she died I kept on visiting her until she died, but it was like a good 6 months. And I was so confident about it because I'm like, she was so excited. And she'd be like, I'm jealous he got there first. Like, she would make comments like that. And I just thought it was so
like
fun.
Yeah. Like the afterlife?
Yeah.
See, that's, and like some people look at that and be like, that's crazy that you think like that. But other people
think
be
it's
like,
gorgeous.
yeah, that's so beautiful. It's like, wow, I'm grateful that you got to, the afterlife, heaven, or, whatever you believe in first before me, because I love you so much.
Right.
Like, that's a different kind of love.
Right.
So, is there anything else, any last words you have for our listeners today?
Stay blessed and not stressed.
You heard it, y'all. Stay blessed, not stressed. Episode 11 is coming to you soon. And then after that, we're going to get into the Red Flags in a Dating Relationship series. And, yeah, I appreciate you all for listening.
Yes, thank you.
And, yeah, as always, stay blessed, not stressed.